everybody. Welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about business idioms in English. I'm going to cover about 15 different business-related English idioms. I'm going to talk about what these expressions mean and the kinds of situations we might use them in. So as you join, please make sure to like and share our video and send a message in the chat. And of course, as always, we have free stuff for you to download from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. We are going to begin in about 2 to 3 minutes. So as you join, make sure to say hello. I see, hi Leah, Leah every week. Oscar's there, Eric, two Erics. Oh my gosh, we have two Erics, and a couple people are joining on Facebook. Esa Elias, hello, and Abdul Kader Bashka Ken, also hello everybody. While we wait, I didn't send you a picture, I suppose. Is there one ready by chance? From last week. I mentioned, as always, there's free stuff from the link below the video on YouTube, free PDFs, as always. There's some new stuff there too, so please check the link if you have not recently. And by recently, I mean in the last few weeks. Oh, okay, we can do that one. Yeah, sure. Okay, so I've talked about this a few times in live streams recently, but this is a screenshot from our weekly Q&A series, question and answer series, where you can send questions to me and I will take a look at them and try to prepare an answer. This is the Ask Alicia series every week. So if you want to participate, if you want to send a question, it can be English related, like language related, or culture related, or maybe travel related, whatever. You can send questions for this series at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia if you want to participate in this. So we're making lots of new things for this series, so please keep an eye out for that in the next few months. Okay, we're about 3 minutes in, so I guess we can begin. Looks pretty good. There's lots of people on the YouTube chat. Hi, everybody. Irina, Gorelel, Summer, Salman, hello. And on Facebook, lots of people too. Mohammed, Miguel, Ranju, Yasser, hello, everybody. Okay, as I said, today we're going to talk about business English idioms. So these are idioms we use in business English, yes, but you can use these in situations outside of business too. These are also common idioms outside of business. You will notice a very common theme for many of these expressions is sports. So sports kind of often connects to these business expressions. Okay, I am going to share today's video and then begin the lesson. Okay, so I've broken today's lesson. I've made today's lesson into 3 parts. We'll look at 5 expressions in each part. So let's begin with this expression. So we use this expression as a set expression to do things by the book, or to do something by the book. So we can change this expression to be singular or plural. To do things by the book means to do something following a standard or a rule. So to follow a standard or rule. So that means you're going to do something in exactly the same way that activity or that action has been done in the past. I'm going to do this by the book. So that means I'm not going to try to do something special. So for example, like in our weekly live stream videos, I'm going to do things by the book by presenting some information on the whiteboard and explaining things, checking the chat, and so on. That's like the standard for our English live stream. So that's, in our case, what it means to do something by the book, to follow an established rule of some kind. And yes, someone asked, is this British or American English? These are American English idioms, American English. Okay, next expression here is to get something off the ground. To get something off the ground. So the ground is in your building, it's the floor, yes. but the ground is the lowest point on the earth, yeah? So to get something off the ground, you can imagine like an airplane. That might be a helpful image for this expression. To get something off the ground means to successfully start something, to successfully start something. So we usually use this for a new project. So maybe you're making a new project, or you're making like a new series, or you're beginning something that's very big, to get something off the ground. We use this a lot in business and in like creative projects, so for hobbies as well too. So to get something off the ground is generally a good thing. It means you successfully started something. So generally a good thing to get something off the ground. Okay, on to the third one here. To keep one's eye on the ball. To keep one's eye on the ball. This is this is maybe our first sports-related idiom here. To keep your eye, as you might hear it, to keep your eye on the ball means to stay focused on a target or a goal. So, to stay focused or to maintain focus, to stay focused on a target or goal. So, you can imagine if you're playing baseball, for example, you're waiting for the ball to come so you can hit the ball, yeah? In order to do that successfully, you have to focus on the ball. So that's what this part means. To keep your eye on the ball means to constantly watch or to continue watching for the ball to move. So we use the expression to keep one's eye or to keep someone's eye on the ball. Usually, you'll hear this as a command. Keep your eye on the ball. Keep your eye on the ball. And sometimes you might hear eyes used, keep your eyes on the ball, but you might hear just one as well. So we use both. You might hear both of these. Okay. If you have questions about these idioms or example sentences, please send them in the chat and I will try to check them live. Someone sent an example with this get us off the ground. So to get something, to go back to this point, this something is the project. We don't say, I'm going to get myself off the ground. This something is your project. So I'm going to get my project off the ground next month. Or we got the project off the ground last week. So this something is not a person. We don't use people here. We use projects here. Okay. Let's continue to the next one. Okay. Someone has used this, I keep my eyes on something as well. You can replace this ball with the target of your attention. So I'm going to keep my eye on you. But that sounds a little negative sometimes, like we're monitoring or we're watching someone. Okay, on to the next one. The next one is a noun. So please keep in mind this one has a different grammatical function than the other expressions we've talked about. This is a noun. The expression is a long shot. We do not use this in the plural form. We do not say long shots, really. We usually say a long shot. So a long shot is something, so a situation, usually, something with a low chance of success. A low chance of success. So something that you think is probably not going to succeed, something that is a long shot. So this has a negative feeling about it. This one sounds kind of negative. We don't have a good feeling about the situation or the project. So you might say like, I'm not sure about this idea. This is a long shot. Like it has a low chance of success. So don't forget this article here. This is a long shot. Like this project is a long shot, or that's a long shot. Means that's something that has a low chance of success, in my opinion. So a long shot, Okay. Okay, on to the last expression for this section. To be on the same page. To be on the same page. So first I'll define this. To be on the same page, we usually say to be on the same page as someone else, means to have the same information and the same understanding as someone else. So I'll write it here. So this means to have the same information and understanding as someone else. Ooh, that's messy, sorry. Understanding as someone else. So we'll often say I'm on the same page as you. So kind of a useful image for this, if you imagine like a book, yeah? So imagine you're reading, can you see? Yeah. Imagine you're reading a book together with another person. And so as you read the book together, you need to read the story at the same time to understand the story at the same time, right? So if you and your friend or whoever, if you are on the same page at the same moment, you understand the story or you understand the situation in exactly the same way as the other person you're with. So it might be helpful to imagine reading a book with someone else. So this means you have the same information and the same understanding of a situation. So in a sentence, we would say something like, are we on the same page? We would use it as a question. That means, do we have the same information? Or you might hear it used in a statement, like, I'm happy we're all on the same page. I'm happy we're all on the same page. That means I'm glad everybody here has the same understanding and the same information. So this is what it means to be on the same page as someone else. Okay, I don't see any questions, but if you have something, please send it in the chat. I will try to check. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll go to group 2 for today's lesson. So today's focus is business English, which means I will share this PDF with you, which I've shared many times, I think. This is the Business English PDF with vocabulary words for the office, yes, and some expressions for a business meeting here on the back. You can take a look at this. And I think these are, here are some job titles for you to review. But some other things related to this and that you might use these idioms in these situations. This one, it says at the airport, yes, but there's some travel-related vocabulary back here and a couple of other expressions you might use. This is for like immigration. But this is a situation where you might use some of these expressions. And this, I've also chosen the travel one. This says travel to the USA, yeah. But on the back here are some other travel-related expressions. And you'll see a little later in today's lesson, some of these expressions are also useful for traveling to new places. Okay. Historia says, hi Alicia, are idioms in English formal or informal language? Generally more informal. They're a little bit more casual, but we do sometimes use them in more formal situations too. It kind of depends a little bit on the idiom. Okay. I don't see any other questions yet, so let's continue on. If you're just joining, today's lesson is about business idioms in English, and please make sure to like and share the video if you have not already. Oh yes, someone said, how do I get the PDFs? The PDFs I just showed you, you can find these from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you are watching on Facebook. There's a link there to get the PDFs. If you're watching on Instagram, please check YouTube or Facebook. And also, sorry, I cannot see your comments in real time. All right, onward. Let's go to group 2 for today then. Group 2, I'll go over here. Group 2 for today. Let's go to this very famous expression, to put all one's eggs in one basket. To put all one's eggs in one's basket means to depend on one person or one plan only for your success. So I'll write it here. To depend on one person or one plan of action for success. So this is generally a negative thing. So it's like you need one person to do everything for you, or you have only one plan to succeed. So if there's a problem, that means you won't succeed. So we'll often use this after something has gone wrong, after we experience a problem, like, oh no, I put all my eggs in one basket. That means I depended on just one person or one plan to succeed, and it failed. So please note this put in past tense is also put, so you have to pay attention to the context of the situation. So for example, like if I ask my friend to buy concert tickets and my friend forgets and we don't go to the concert, I might say like, oh no, I put all my eggs in one basket and I can't go to the concert now. Like I relied on my friend and my friend forgot. Like I had no other plan in that case. So that's a very simple example. But this can be especially problematic. This can be an issue in very big projects, like in work situations. Okay. Yes, Kanwaljit, I hope I said that right, on YouTube has a good example. He put all his eggs in one basket when he invested all his money in one company. Exactly, that's a great example. So that's probably not a good decision to put all your money into one company only. If that company fails, your money is gone. So that's a great example of this expression. All right. Saeed, I hope I said that right, says, is do things by the book a good thing? Isn't a good thing? To do things, it's neither good nor bad. You're just saying we're going to follow the rules. That's all. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. That's a neutral expression. All right, on to the next one. This is 2 for 1. That means we have 2 idioms in this one. It is to talk someone into or out of something. So there are 2 expressions here. To talk someone into something and to talk someone out of something. So first let's talk about into. To talk someone into something means to convince someone to do something. To convince someone to do something. And we do this by talking. So to talk someone into something, or you might hear to talk someone into doing something, means to discuss something with them until they are convinced, until they decide to do that thing. Like, my parents talked me into buying a new car when I was 20 or something. That's not true. But like, my parents talked me into this decision. Means my parents convinced me to do this thing. On the other hand, to talk someone out of something means to convince someone not to do something, not to do something. So we use this expression when someone has a bad idea and we think they should not do that thing. So like maybe I decide I want to buy a really expensive house, but I have no money. So my parents talked me out of buying the house. My parents talked me out of buying an expensive house or taking out a big loan. So to convince somebody to do something, to talk someone into a situation, to convince someone to do a thing, and to talk someone out of something means to convince someone not to do something, kind of like leaving a situation. You can try to think of it that way. Okay, on to the next one. And please remember, if you want to use this in the past tense, you need to conjugate your verb. I talked her into doing something. I talked him into doing something. So don't forget to conjugate your verbs in these idioms. Diari has a great example. He talked me into applying for a promotion or the promotion. Great. He talked me into applying for the promotion. Great. He convinced me to apply for the promotion. Good. Okay. Let's go to the next one. To think outside the box. To think outside the box. Maybe many of you know this expression already. To think outside the box means to think in a way that is different from the standard. So think this one is like the opposite of to do things by the book, yeah? We talked about to do things by the book as like to do things according to a standard. There's some standard or there's some rule. However, to think outside the box means to think in a way that is different from the standard. So I'll write it here. To think creatively. To think creatively or in a different way than the standard in your situation or in your industry. To think outside the box. So this is generally seen as a positive thing. When we use the expression to think outside the box, it's like saying we need to be creative. We need to have a creative idea here. So yeah, this one, I think we see this one a lot in like creative news as well. Or in student-related work, like in universities, students are encouraged to think outside the box, to think in a new way about something. Someone wrote, I have to think outside the bottle. We use box always here, box. Think outside the box. Make sure to use box. Okay. You have the same expression in Portuguese. I did not know that. That's cool. Okay. Other points, I don't see any others yet. Okay, let's continue on to this one. To touch base. To touch base. This is another sports-related idiom. If you know baseball, maybe you know there are 4 bases. There's first base, second base, third base, and home base. So this expression, to touch base, means to check in with someone. To check in. This is a very common one in American English. To check in. To check in with someone means to get an update about something. To get an update. Usually like to get a project update or to get an information update. So we often see this in invitations for meetings. Like, hey, can we touch base about the project later today? Or I touched base with our boss earlier today. So that means I updated someone, or we exchanged updates, or we checked in about a project or about a situation. To touch base, to touch base. This is a very common expression, to touch base. Let's touch base later. Okay, onward to the last one here, to throw in the towel. To throw in the towel. This is one, again, sport related, exercise related. Do I have a towel? I do. So let's imagine this expression comes from a physical action. So the expression to throw in the towel, this comes from after you exercise and maybe you're tired or whatever, you might use a towel like to wipe your face, to clean your face. And after you finish, you might throw the towel into the laundry, yeah? Like you're finished. To throw in the towel, it means here to quit, to stop doing something. So we're done in the exercise example. To throw in the towel means to quit or to stop doing something. So this has a very nice visual to go along with it. To quit or to stop doing something is to throw in the towel. Now, generally, I will say this does have a kind of negative feel. It's like you quit something, maybe because it's not successful. So it's like, I've been trying to make this successful YouTube channel for 6 years and I can't do it. I'm gonna throw in the towel. So that's like, I'm gonna quit. I'm really tired. I've tried and worked hard, but it's time to finish. So that's a situation where we might do that. Of course, our YouTube channel is cool. But that's an example where you might use throw in the towel. You've worked hard for a long time, but you're not succeeding. I quit. That's the feeling of to throw in the towel. I'm gonna throw in the towel. All right. I don't see questions or examples, so we'll go to the next one. I guess there's not really time for another break, is there? Okay, let's go on. Let's go on to our last 5, our very last expressions for today. The first one on this part is to go back to square one. To go back to square one means to go back to the beginning. To go back to the beginning, to go back to the start. To go back, also to go back means to return, to return. To go back or to return to the start or to the beginning. So this is also seen, we consider this one kind of negatively. So this is we use this in situations where we've tried to do something, we've tried to start something, for example, but we have lots of problems. There are lots of hurdles for us, and eventually we realize this is not going to work. We go back to square one. So square one means step 1 here. So after we try to take a few steps, you can imagine each step is like a square, kind of. So I'm stepping forward in my project, but it continues to fail. So I go back to the start and try to begin again. So we use this expression after we've tried to do something and it's failed and failed and failed, and we want to get like a fresh start. So it shows we failed, but we're going to continue. So a little bit negative, but also like I'm going to continue. To go back to square one. To go back to square one. Okay, Nader Hi says, regarding this project, please go back to square one. That's a very, yes, I suppose you could use it that way. It sounds direct. Usually when we use this expression, it's not a command. Usually we're reporting about our own status. Like, I went back to square one on that project. Like we feel a little bit negative about it and we're reporting about ourselves. So that's kind of how we use it. Rodrigo says, go back to square one, square 2, or 3. We usually say square 1 here because we want to emphasize we're going to the beginning. I'm going to start again from 0. So we say, I'm going to go back to square 1. You might say, I took a step back, which means I went back 1 step, and then I'm going to go forward. But this expression emphasizes returning to the beginning of something. Okay. Only 2 minutes, let's finish. So the next one, I should do this. The next expression is to cut to the chase. To cut to the chase. To cut to the chase. Kind of a weird expression. To cut to the chase means to explain something efficiently. To explain something efficiently without wasting time. So often I talk too much. So often I might think to myself like, I should cut to the chase. I should cut to the chase. This one is kind of something I think it's good to memorize, this expression. There's not an easy visual for this. But it's like you need to cut the extra stuff so that we can get to the main point. That's what this means. So probably everybody knows someone who talks a lot, like they give lots and lots of information that's not related to your main topic. So you might hear this expression, which is very aggressive and very direct. Someone might say, cut to the chase, which means cut all this extra information, tell us the main point. So again, this is a very aggressive expression, but it means to get rid of all of this extra information and share the key points, to cut to the chase. So this is something that's probably said by someone you're very close to, like a coworker you're close to, or perhaps a boss, like someone who's very busy, that they don't want to waste time. They might say, cut to the chase, what's the key information? So this is, again, kind of aggressive. You might hear this in media as well, like TV shows and movies. All right, let's see. Someone says, I always cut to the chase teaching English. Really? Sometimes I explain a lot, I know, but I try to explain in many different ways so people can find an explanation that is useful for them. All right, on to this one. To get the ball rolling. To get the ball rolling. I use this expression a lot, actually. To get the ball rolling. We don't have a ball in here, do we? To get the ball rolling is very similar to get something off the ground. So to get the ball rolling, imagine a ball. Sorry, let me define this first. To get the ball rolling means to start a project, to start something. So just as with get something off the ground, to start a project. So this one has a nice image too. So when you push a ball and it begins rolling, it's like, yes, you started it and it's going to continue. So to get the ball rolling means you start a project and you're going to continue the project too. So this one is generally pretty positive, and we use it in pretty much the same way as we use to get something off the ground. To get something off the ground. Okay. On to our last two because I'm out of time. The last two, first, to see something through. To see something through. This one might be a little bit tricky to understand. It means to do something until the end. To do something until the end, especially for challenging situations. So for example, imagine like a marathon runner. A marathon runner is very, very tired, but they think, I'm going to see this through. I'm going to see this through means I'm going to do this until the end. So to see something through means to do something until it's finished, to do something completely. So we use this in business as well, again, for challenging projects. So maybe you have a really big project. Maybe as a student you have to write like a thesis paper or something, and you think to yourself, this is really hard, but I'm going to see it through. I'm going to do this thing until it's complete. I'm going to do this until the end. Okay, last one is 2 for 1. To start off on the right foot or to start off on the wrong foot. To start off on the right foot or to start off on the wrong foot. This right and wrong refers to correct or incorrect. To start off means to begin a relationship here. So to start off on the right foot means to begin something in a positive way. To start off on the wrong foot means to begin something in a negative way. So we often use this for like relationships with our coworkers or for other interpersonal relationships. To start something in a positive way for right, or to start something in a negative way for wrong. So in many cases, if you like make a mistake the first time you meet someone, you might say, I started things off on the wrong foot with my new boss. So I made a mistake. I started our relationship in a negative way. So you might hear this in past tense when you talk about the first time you meet someone or when you enter a new situation. So so there's no left foot, right foot here. Right means correct in this case, and wrong means incorrect or negative. All right, phew, I'm very late, so I have to finish today's stream. I don't have a good one for finishing today's stream, but I hope that these business-related idioms are helpful for you. And again, as I said, you can use these expressions in situations outside business too. So I'll finish there for today. Thank you for all your questions and for your example sentences. Oh, I'll step off screen once so you can take a screenshot. Okay, so that's been a request. People have been requesting that lately, so who am I to judge? We'll finish there for today. Next week, we will be back, as always. Next week's topic is something I have forgotten. What is next week's topic? I forgot. Please help me. It will be 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. Please Google your local time if you are not familiar. Yes, next week's topic will be how to give extra details. So I'm going to talk about relative clauses, everyone's favorite. So lots of you have asked about relative clauses. So I'm going to talk about giving extra details with relative clauses as our focus grammar point. So please join us live 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York City time, on Wednesday evening. That will be Wednesday, October 24th. Please check next Wednesday, set a notification, October 23rd. If you don't want to miss it. So thank you so much to everybody who joined. Thank you for liking and sharing the video. We really appreciate it. And don't forget to go download all your free stuff from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. Enjoy the rest of your week, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.